Bass anglers, pay attention. A massive storm system is about to shake up the entire country, bringing everything from blizzards and record low pressure to severe tornado outbreaks. If you're fishing this week, you need to be prepared. Every week, we're tracking the weather, seasonal patterns, and tournament trends to help you make better fishing decisions. So, guys, stay tuned for the baits of the week because we're going to be revealing the baits that you need to have tied on to catch your new personal best. Let's go. All right, guys, as always, starting off with our weekly map, our ice line has shifted pretty far north. We just have a little bit of the country still frozen. The rest of us are all fishing finally, and then if you're up in the mountains, obviously, you're going to have a lot of frozen, a lot of snow. So looking at our spawn and post-spawn now zones, Florida's definitely sitting in, we've got probably everything going on, pre-spawn, post-spawn, spawn. They're always spawning down there. So southern Texas, and then all along the border of Mexico, up into California, up into the Los Angeles area, definitely some spawn going on. And then our pre-spawn areas have shifted slightly north here into Tennessee, North Carolina, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and then parts of the Southwest and all through Western California. So you guys should be out there catching your personal best if you're in those pre-spawn zones. We do have a tournament coming up, a Bass Nation tournament here. It's on Lake Pickwick in Florence, Alabama. Should be a slugfest. And then our winter zones are right where they usually are here in Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, the whole Midwest, and then the eastern areas should be still in the winter zones for quite a while yet, to be honest. We usually don't get out of that till late mid-April around here. So, and then the Northwest, you're still up in a winter zone up there. So let's move on to tournaments. All right, guys, we got kind of a quiet week this week in tournaments. We do have this Bass Nation Qualifier at Pickwick Lake. If you guys don't know about these used to be the regionals for Bass Nation, so anybody in the country can fish these. And if you get in the top 10, I believe, you get to go to the national tournament, and a winner of that gets to go to the elites. So pretty awesome deal. And then this gives you a really good chance to get into the Bassmaster Classic eventually. So if you're just a local fisherman and you want to try your shot at becoming a pro, this is a great track to do it. This tournament starts on the 12th, so it's at Pickwick Lake. Should be a really good little tournament, so guys, check it out. Look at our tournaments from last week. Jason Christie did get the win there on the NPFL Santee Cooper event, which is pretty awesome for him. The guy's an absolute hammer, winning in every place he fishes. So 82 pounds, 12 ounces was a great tournament. Tons of giant fish caught. So check out npfl.com for those guys. All right, jumping over to the MLF and the Bass Pro Tour Stage 3 on Lake Murray. Drew Gill got it done. This guy is the next Jacob Wheeler who got second place, the next KVD. This kid is awesome. He's not just great at scope. He caught a 5-pounder to clutch it up in the third period without live scope. So congratulations to Drew Gill. They don't have another tournament till April, I believe. So, and just a reminder, we are 2 weeks out from less than 2 weeks out from the Bassmaster Classic. So check in next week and we'll have a ton of tournament coverage on the Bassmaster Classic. Before we get into the weather, guys, we are on a mission to hit 500 subscribers here at the BPC. So if you love weekly bass fishing forecasts and you want to stay ahead of the bite, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment with the lake that you want us to feature next week, and we will. And also check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and obviously follow us on YouTube. So thanks for the followers so far, guys. All right, weather is where all the action is this week, guys. We just had a system that moved off of Florida, and it did bring an F2 tornado to Central Florida. So shout out to anybody that was in the path of that. I hope everybody stayed safe. And then going through the week, this is what we're going to have to deal with right here. Is a couple low pressure systems that are going to be moving in. So the first one's going to come here through Southern California, and it's already starting to rain there, all along the Southwest, LA, San Diego area. And then that is going to move in, and that's going to bring a tornado threat for tomorrow into Texas, as you can see right here. And it's just a really slight tornado threat. There's a chance these storms might not be able to fire up because there might not be enough moisture, but if there is, there's a chance and a risk for tornadoes there along the border between Louisiana, the Arklatex area, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas. So keep your eyes peeled and your weather radios on if you're in those areas. And then our big storm is already moving onto the west coast here. As you can see, there's tons of snow up in the mountains, rain all on the coast. It's going to be an absolute soaker, probably up to 2 inches of rain in some areas. And then as this thing moves, it's going to come right on shore, bringing rain all throughout California and the Southwest, even into Nevada. And then if you're a ski fan, you're going to be up in the Rockies. You're going to get a nice dousing of snow for some spring skiing. And then as this comes over the Rockies, this is where it starts to happen because this is going to form what they call a bomb cyclone, which means it's going to drop 24 millibars of pressure in 24 hours. So this thing is going to be a possibly record low, just like we had it last week. And what this is going to start out with is you're going to get some blizzard conditions up here in the north because the winds from this thing are going to be insane. And then you're going to have huge, severe problems right out here through Missouri and Iowa. It's going to start off with some supercell thunderstorms that could produce very strong tornadoes and then form a line of storms that can produce high winds as it moves east. And then we're also going to be running into, as you back this up just a little bit, so as these bars are very close together right in here, the winds in this area are going to be insane. We're talking up to maybe 80 or 90-mile-an-hour gusts, which could bring a severe risk of fire because the air is super dry right there. So if you're in those regions, you're not going to want to be out there fishing on Friday. It's going to be way too windy, not safe at all. And also watch out. Do not be throwing your cigarettes out the window or anything that could start a fire, guys. So then as this moves east, it's going to continue to bring storms throughout from all the way from the Great Lakes down south. This is just going to continue to form a band each day. It's going to strengthen with the daylight heating, and then it's going to it's going to reform there on Sunday, and then bring more rain all the way through to the East Coast. The blizzard part of this is going to move north out of the United States, which is good for anybody that wants to fish, but it is going to dump a decent amount of snow in these areas here. So just keep your eyes peeled, keep your weather radio on. All right now for temperatures, things are not too bad out there. You have a nice warm sector over the whole northern half of the country from Maine all the way to Nevada, which is really nice. It's keeping the weather warm. It was like 80 degrees in Nebraska yesterday, loving it. Got out and had a nice jog. And then as this progresses through the week, this is going to continue to move south and east and warm the rest of the country until that system moves in. And as you can see, it starts to bring in some cooler weather right over here into California. The whole western part of the country here is going to see some definite cooling off as this system progresses, and then it's going to bring warm weather out in front of it. So as you can see, it's going to be super warm up in the South Dakota, North Dakota area, and very warm in eastern Texas in the Arklatex area. So then as this moves through, just like any big system, it's going to be like a cold front, comes over the Rockies and pushes that warm air out and brings some cold air in. Luckily, it's not going to be a huge cold blast. It's just going to bring us back to average instead of being above average. And all those above average temps are going to be up here. You're going to see a ton of ice melting up here over the next few weeks with the wind and the warmth that is going to be coming. So then as we moved through Sunday, the cooler air is going to set in, and we're just going to be back to basically average. Nothing too bad, nothing we can't handle. So should be out there and be able to fish after these storms pass, even though the bite will be tough. All right, guys, looking at the West Coast, we're going to be looking at rain pretty much all week. That's going to be the story of the week for you guys. I believe already in the Southwest it's been raining today, and then starting on Wednesday, a big system moves right in here. That's the big system we've been looking at, and it's going to bring a bunch of rain and a bunch of snow in the mountains up here. And then as that pushes east, another system is going to come right behind it and wet you down right for the weekend, and then another system is going to come right behind that for Monday. So just if you can get out and fish, it's going to be in between the storms, in between the rain. If you guys are diehards, definitely get out there with your rain gear on, but definitely going to be a wet one if you're out there. And let's look at our temperatures. Temperatures, it is a little cooler than normal for you down here in California. You're looking at 50s and 60s all week along the coast. Maybe a little bit warmer as you get into Sunday. And then obviously cool up in the mountains. But it's going to be chilly out there. But it's pretty consistent, so it shouldn't shut down the bite too much. Actually could bring some big ones out if you have a lot of cloudy weather. So if you guys get out there, now's the time to probably be throwing those glide baits, those big swim baits. Maybe catch you a few giants this week. Looking at wind speeds along the area here, definitely windy in the southwest today with the storms, and then each pass of these storms that move through is going to bring some winds as it comes through, but your overall sustained winds aren't going to be too bad. 10 to 20 in some areas, but under 10 in most areas. So you should be able to fish. Just watch out for any storms, watch out for the rain. Should be a really good time. Probably the best place to be in the country right now as far as fishing goes for this week. All right, looking at our southern area here, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, and east of that. Looking at precipitation, pretty well dry. Oh, we do have that chance of storms tonight, on Thursday right here, and that's where your chance of a possible tornado could happen, depending on how well these storms fire based on how much moisture there is. It's just really going to depend on a lot of things. It's definitely something to keep an eye on the Storm Prediction Center, and keep your eye on that, and that'll give you kind of an idea what they're looking at. And then as that pushes out, we do have the big storm coming through, and the timing on that looks like Friday evening. This line of storm is going to fire. It's mostly going to be in this Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri area, and then to push east from there. So just definitely something to keep an eye on. We'll have more updates as time moves on, but Friday morning we'll have a huge update for our weekend update to keep everything keep you guys safe out there. And then after that, going into the weekend, another little push of this storm happens as they refire on Saturday. Mostly going to be along that border area. Toledo Bend Reservoir, definitely going to get some rain. And then after that, Sunday is actually looking pretty dry. So maybe if you are able to get out, Sunday might be the day. Let's take a look at our winds. All right, looking at our winds in this area, and it's definitely going to be a windy one for most of the week. You've got upwards of 20, 30, gusts up to 40 in this area, and then it's just going to be bad. It'll calm down in the evenings like it usually does, and maybe early mornings, but each day is going to be windy. Especially on Friday, this is where these reds are showing up. These are gusts that could be over 60 mile an hour, upwards of, some people are talking 90 mile an hour. So it's dry out there. Be very careful. Watch for fires. You're not going to want to be fishing at all in this area come Friday. So just keep your eye to the weather there and do not get out on any big water. And then, as you can see, you got some big winds with these storms on Saturday, and it's just going to be a windy one. So just be prepared for that. Looking at temperatures in the region, actually pretty good for the week as far as warmth. Looks like it's going to be in the 70s, 80s, 90s even in some areas. Super warm, super nice. So that's not going to hold you back from fishing, but the winds are going to be the main concern for you guys in these regions. All right, looking at our southeast region. Let's see, it's pretty well dry until we get to these storms that happen on, the first one's here on Thursday, and that's just that little patch of storms. That shouldn't be anything too crazy. It's mostly going to happen overnight. Shouldn't affect fishing too much. A little bit of rain passing through, though, on Thursday night also, Thursday day. So just have your rain gear ready if you're in Alabama, Georgia area. And then our big system starts, like we said, on Friday, and that's going to kick off here in Louisiana and Arkansas Friday night. You're going to want to watch out for severe weather, including tornadoes. And then on Saturday, it reforms, and this is mostly going to be a wind threat and a lot of rain. Going to form right there along Alabama, eastern Mississippi, and just push east. Form a really nice strong band of storms there, and then push east on Sunday and straight out into the Atlantic Ocean on Sunday. And we'll be getting some rain in Florida also on Sunday night. So just keep your rain gear as always. It's going to be a wet one in the southeast like it is this time of year. Looking at temperatures in the region. Today, right now, it's in the 50s. It's a little bit cooler today, but should warm up nicely up into the 60s even. And then on Wednesday, we're looking at really nice weather, 70s and 80s all throughout the region. Definitely nice and warm for you if you're out fishing. Thursday, same story. Really going to be 80s almost every day. Maybe a tiny little cool down with these storms, but nothing too crazy. So the temperature, once again, should not keep you from fishing. It should be really nice out there. All right, looking at the Great Plains and the Eastern Rockies here. Pretty dry up until that system hits here on Friday. And so, as you can see, this kicks off Friday about 6 p.m. Actually, no, 3 p.m. And it's going to, the low's sitting right over Kansas right here. And as you can see, these bars are very close together. Lots of strong winds all around this thing. And then this line of storms is going to be right out in front, right along the border of Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, and then blizzard conditions all through here. Super windy, a little bit of snow, lots of snow is going to be happening. That is going to make it hard to see. So not going to want to be out in those regions, and you're going to really want to watch things if you're in this eastern part here. Could get a little hairy on Friday. And then as we move through the weekend, that storm system definitely pushes out. Nothing on Saturday. Definitely some snow over here in Colorado on Saturday and Sunday. If you're, in the Denver area, you're going to see some snow. Might make it a little tough to be fishing, but Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, dry for the rest of the weekend, so it should look pretty good for you guys. Temperatures in the regions look pretty good. It's been very warm for us, which is nice. You're looking at 60s for Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri. All that area looks really good. 60-degree weather each day. Let's see. On Wednesday, same story, almost 70. I know one of these days is going to be close to 80. Yeah, Thursday afternoon, we're looking at high 70s all throughout this region. Nice warm area here, and then also in eastern Colorado looks great. And then on Friday, as this storm system moves through, it's going to be warm right out in front of it, really warm, upwards of 80 degrees. And then behind it, it's going to cool down into the 30s and 40s. Nothing too crazy. Not going to be refreezing any lakes or anything. And then on Saturday, it's going to be a little bit cooler in the area because of that storm system. but close to 50 degrees still, so still not uncomfortable, nothing we can't handle. We aren't that far off from having negative 20s, so we'll take it at this point. And then on Sunday, you're looking back again at 50 degrees, so not too bad of weather temperature-wise in the Midwest. Winds are an issue this time of year around this region, but for right now, they're actually not too bad. You're looking at 10-mile-an-hour winds all throughout this area. These greens are 10s and 20s, so still not the worst. You're going to have a little bit of gusty winds here on Thursday around that system. And then Friday, obviously, huge winds, 30 to 40, gusts of 60 all throughout there. And then, let's see, clear this. And then as that pushes out, there'll be strong winds coming behind it all through here. And that's where you're going to bring those blizzard conditions if there's snowfall. Otherwise, it's just going to be super windy. And then once that pushes out, you're back into the 10 to 20 from the north and west on Sunday. So that's not terrible. Should be able to be out there and fish if you want to go out there and brave a little bit of wind. So, and finally, looking at the northeast and east coast here, Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina area, Virginia. Right now, you have that system right off the coast that just moved off that brought the tornado to Florida. And then through Wednesday, you're going to have a little bit of snow up here in the northeast. If you're able to fish, just watch out for that. It could get slick. A little lake effect snow there in western New York. That's going to push off coast pretty quickly. And then going into Thursday, maybe a little bit of scattered storms right through here with that little storm system from Texas that moved through. Shouldn't get too much rain, though, out of that. Just might want to have your rain gear handy. And then our system comes in on Friday's dry for the most part, maybe a little bit of scattered rain in the Carolinas. And then our big system comes through mostly on Saturday for this area. You can see this line of storms forming. It's going to affect everybody from up Michigan all the way south into Georgia, South or Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. And definitely on Saturday when this reforms, you're going to get a ton of rain all through here, all the way from Ohio, Tennessee, North Carolina. Going to be a soaker. Just definitely have your rain gear. Timing, you're looking at, this is towards the evening, so maybe you'll be off the water by then, which won't be too bad. Might get a little rain during the day ahead of it. And then on Sunday, as this pushes through, people behind it should be able to fish. It will be cold front conditions. It'll be a little bit tough. You're going to want to get your finesse baits on. And it's going to be raining along the East Coast pretty much all the way from Maine south to Florida. So just make sure you have your rain gear and watch the weather for any severe storms, guys. Temperatures for today looking pretty good. You're up in the 60s and 70s pretty much throughout the area. Obviously cooler as you get towards the Great Lakes. And then as we go a little bit further tomorrow, same story. Looks really nice. The Northeast is going to have that cool down with that snow. And then also on Thursday, the weather's pretty decent. 60s and 70s, maybe even some 80s in the western parts here, which is really nice. And then on Friday, looking warm. A little bit of a cool down in Pennsylvania, up in the Washington, D.C. area. If you're fishing, just bring a jacket. And then Saturday, we are looking at a nice warm sector out in front of this storm. And then the rain's going to cool off the air a little bit where the storm is. But it's going to stay relatively warm even after this passes. You're still on, well, that's Monday. Let's go back a little bit. Still on Sunday, still in the 50s in this region. A little bit cooler up here around the Great Lakes in the freezing temps up there. So just obviously pack a jacket. If you're in these areas, it's going to be cool with the winds, but not too bad. Definitely could be fishing. All right, looking at winds in the region, it's going to be gusty almost every day this week. Wednesday, you're looking at 10 to 20 throughout the region. Better as you go north for sure. On Thursday, the winds are going to stay to the south. Actually, that's your best day right there for fishing. It's going to be warm and not windy. You're ahead of the front. That's the day I'd be out there if I could. And then as the storm system moves through on Friday, you're looking at winds increasing throughout the day until it gets to be unbearable out in front of this thing. You can see these reds. Those are insane gusts. On Saturday, it's going to be really bad. You probably don't want to be out in the water at all. And if you do, make sure you have a life jacket, guys, because it's going to be windy in most regions. And then on Sunday, as this pushes out in front of it, super windy, especially along the coast. Be really careful out there. Behind it, not as bad. You're still looking at 20 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour gusts probably, but nothing you can't manage, but going to be tough fishing because of the cold front. So just keep an eye on things, guys. Make sure you have your life jackets and your rain gear. All right, on to everybody's favorite part of the segment, and that is the baits of the week, guys. And first, looking at our spawn and post spawn areas, we're looking at a bait that just came out from Core Tackle, and I'm super excited for this. And they've built this thing to be put with a fluke, and you run your bait right up on there, and this sticks out of the tip of the bait. I believe this was designed by Matt Becker. I ordered these on Saturday. They're not quite here yet. It's only Tuesday morning, so hopefully they'll be here today or tomorrow, and I'll be able to put them in the weekend video. But what I'm going to do with this thing, and it's going to be something that no one's doing yet, is I'm going to put this thing on a floating worm, and it's going to be insane. I can already tell you. I haven't even tried it out yet, but I will make a video and show you guys what it looks like. But I believe this is going to be a killer bait, especially around the right before the spawn, during the spawn, and after the spawn. Going to absolutely slaughter them on it. If you guys haven't fished a floating worm that time of the year, you're really missing out. Pinks, chartreuses, whites, they absolutely slaughter them. You get to see them attack the bait. It's super fun, and this is going to be the best hook for the deal. Now, looking at our pre-spawn areas, I would go with this 6 cents flat F4. This bait has been a killer lately. I don't know if you guys follow Captain Ron on Instagram, but he absolutely hammered them down south on this thing for pre-spawn bass along the Mexican Texas border. This thing's giant along rocks. Get this thing tied onto the end of your rod. As it warms up, you might want to switch to like more of a Crush 50X, but early in the pre-spawn, this thing is an absolute killer, so get one tied on. And then in winter areas, I just picked up a bunch of these. This is the Beast Coast Little Magnum jig. This is probably the best finesse jig that you can get, and then we're going to pair that with a net bait twin tail trailer. And to be honest, NetBait has put bait fuel in all their stuff, so I'm switching almost all my stuff to NetBait for soft plastics. NetBait and 6 cents. So, and then the 6 cent stuff, I'm dumping bait fuel in it because that stuff helps so much. So get you a little finesse jig. This Little Magnum by Beast Coast is absolutely killer, and get out there and start fishing. Lake of the Week this week was submitted by Marty Watson 9796, and it is Lake of the Ozarks, one of the best lakes in the nation, guys. Super clear water, especially on the lower end. They're sitting in a winter pattern, possibly some early pre-spawn going on. Get down there with your jerk baits, fish these points that lead back into these spawning pockets. You can't go wrong, whether it's pre-spawn or winter time right now. So a lot of electronics use in these lakes because the water is deep and the fish get deep. So scan around until you find a big pot of fish. Get out a jerk bait, get out that finesse jig, and just lay into a bunch of fish on this lake. I'd love to get down there myself. I have not fished it, but I have definitely been down there, and it's an awesome lake. So thanks, Marty, for submitting it. Guys, submit your lake next week for Lake of the Week, and we will feature it in next week's video. Update, guys, that is your weekend update. If you guys are fishing this weekend, make sure you drop a comment with your lake and the conditions. And don't forget, we're pushing for 500 subscribers. So if you want to stay ahead of the bite every week, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. I'll see you next time at the Bass Prediction Center, where weather science and bass fishing meet.